What's up guys, it's Lord Both here with another video, and it looked like today was going to be pretty quiet on the news front when it came to movies, TV, video games, but in reality, we could not be further from the truth. Because today, the embargo on the reviews for Snow White have lifted, and the Rotten Tomatoes score is in. And this one, despite all the shilling that's been going on in social media, might shock you. That's right, everyone. Disney's Snow White premiered with a 45% Rotten score. It's gone up to 46% now. And I would venture to guess it will climb as high as to maybe 60. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt as more reviews pour in, but I don't really see it making it further than that when it comes to the movie reviewers. And these are actual reviewers, right? Actual critics. They're not the instant reaction shills we saw on social media who really don't want to lose their preview access to Disney movies. These guys are actually watching the movie to review it. And what they found out was this thing is about as bad as we thought it was going to be. In fact, I would say 46% is being nice. But hey, there's only so much you can ask from the critics, right? Now let's take a look at some of these critical reviews here. This is from the Irish Times. We're going to look at most of the top critic reviews here. There are, of course, plenty of not top critics, but the top critic reviews from what I've seen have been the most interesting because there's a lot of publications here you don't think would give this thing a negative review. They're definitely giving it a negative review. The Irish Times, the most distracting flaws are rooted in the problematic recreation of animated material. The permanent magical hour lighting is hard to look at. That's what I said, right? It looked like it was going to be hard on the eyes with all that CG, all that green screen for hours on end. Worst of all, the decision to cartoonize the dwarves alongside human actors is hugely problematic. So this review is all about the problematic stuff here. The Los Angeles Times. Funny enough, I don't think that the Los Angeles Times are probably part of the right-wing pipeline. They gave it a negative review. A fascinating case study in today's impossible contradictions. A magic mirror reflecting the tensions of the current times. Wow, Los Angeles Times, that meant almost absolutely nothing. How did that actually give us any insight into the movie? Not a whole lot. I guess I'd have to read the full review here. But honestly, after that statement, I'm kind of pissed off by it to the point where I don't want to read the full review. It is pretty telling, though, that they gave some cryptic statement here about modern times and probably referencing politics and all that, but they also gave it a rotten. So take that as you will. RogerEbert.com. Some parts of the film work better than others, but none of it has the sweetness and imagination of the animated feature. This Snow White is not the fairest of them all. It's just, well, fair. This is a positive review from Looper. I like this one. It just says, at least half of this film, especially the clash between the evil queen and Snow White, is enjoyable enough. You are coping and seething. Even the positive reviews of this movie can't really sum up the gumption to actually tell us anything of depth that's good about it. This one from Discussing Film. Aside from Rachel Zegler's powerhouse performance, yeah, sure, there is little else to enjoy from this clumsy, poorly conceived, and cynical live-action Disney remake. Even Gal Gadot's hilariously bad line reads are not worth the trip to the theater. Damn! At least he and I agree on Gal Gadot's acting. Probably not the acting of Rachel Zegler, but seriously, Gal Gadot cannot act. I'm glad that people are finally coming to this realization. While it's a magical mixed bag, most of it works wonderfully. That's a positive review from Geeks of Color. Wow. You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. This from the Toronto Star. There's nothing magical in Mark Webb's movie, but it nevertheless feels uncanny spending $250 million probably over 300 actually, to make a film in which absolutely nothing works, is a kind of dark art and in and of itself. This is from The Independent in UK. With Snow White, they finessed their formula. Do the bare minimum to make a film and then simply slap a bunch of cutesy CGI animals all over it and hope no one notices. This is an interesting one. It's a positive review from the BBC in which it states, the story is cluttered, the tone is muddled, and the pacing is off. Again, that doesn't make the film a disaster. That kind of sounds like you're saying it's a disaster. In some ways, the identity crisis is what makes it worth seeing. That's right, guys. It's so bad, it's good. Because that's exactly what Disney was going for when they were shopping around the idea of remaking the movie that saved their corporation. They were like, you know what we should do? We should make our version of like Tommy Wiseau's The Room, but for our musical animated movies.
What a story, Mark.
Because that's what they're saying right here it is. That it's so much of a disaster, it's good to see. The New York Post, the timeless classic, a groundbreaking achievement for animation, has been turned into another pointless and awkward live-action automation that vanishes from your mind the second it's over. Damn. The Rolling Stone gave this a negative review. Do you have any idea how absolutely difficult that is for the Rolling Stone to give liberal corporation Disney a negative review on such a controversial movie like this? The Rolling Stone critic David Fear writes, this Snow White may not be the worst live-action adaptation of an animated touchstone, though it's a strong contender for its blandness. The movie does earn points as a bedtime story, however, because it will definitely put you to sleep.
Stop! He's already dead!
And the reviews just continue to go on like this. Polygon, the AV Club, Screen Rant, they all gave the movie a negative review. And a lot of the positive reviews for this film are basically talking about how the film in itself is not great, or is it so much a disaster that it's, funny to go see. So what does that actually say? That says that the actual negative score for this film is probably even less than 40%, because those critics are basically chilling. They're literally telling you the film is not good, but still giving it a positive rating. Why would you do that? Other than the fact that you are a shill. Anyway, it's quite clear that the critics, they see the writing on the wall, just like we all see the writing on the wall. This movie, I don't think it will make its budget back. I don't think it will be a massive, massive disaster. I don't think this is going to be something like The Marvels, but it's going to be close. I wouldn't be able to put a number on what it actually makes, but it's not going to make a profit, that's for sure. And all the gaslighting from the instant social media reviews that we got from the reactioners online, none of it matters now, because the actual reviewers show us the truth, what we knew the whole time, that our eyes and our ears were not lying to us. What we saw in the trailers is what we get in the movie, and that's a whole lot of bad. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it. We'll talk to you again later.